Welcome to another edition of Northern Heat. My name is Bob Lennon, President of ThermalWood Canada, host for the show. And today we have Liam Hatheway with us. Hi, Liam. How you doing?
Not too bad yourself.
Not bad. Yeah. So let's talk. You guys have been kind of building up to a celebration here all year round at Hatheway Ford. So tell us a little bit about what this is all about and what the 75 years means.
Yeah, no, we're celebrating our 75th anniversary this year. Myself being fourth generation here. We've been doing a little bit of stuff all year. Had some stuff made, some clothes made. Had a week-long sale and had some people in at the store. Actually had some support from Ford Canada too. Sent us some nice videos and everything. So yeah, no, we're just celebrating 75, celebrating the history of the store.
History.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So history, it's been in Bathurst for 75 years. Your great-grandfather, and we were talking about that a while ago, and we're looking back at this poster here, and it's worthwhile talking about because I remember growing up and talking about this, and this, you were just talking about, this was the curling club back in the day when you used to have car shows there. And the car shows back in the day were pretty special because, everything was hidden and it was like in a grand opening, right?
Yeah. No, before the day of TV commercials and YouTube releases and stuff like that, we used to do it all ourselves. So we'd get the stuff early before the launch of the new model year, and we'd have to hide it somewhere in a barn or something. And then at the beginning, we used to, set it up at the curling club. Later on, we moved to the Casey Irving Center, but we'd have these big car shows at the start of the year to kick off the new model year. And this is our first one that we had in 49 at the Bathurst Curling Club. So yeah.
That's pretty crazy. And the pictures here, like I grew up next to your grandfather and your father and his brothers, and everybody's in the car business. Yeah. Like, Jimmy and David and Ian and your grandfather and then his father before. So you're the next one to take this all up and to keep it going. So interesting that you're still involved, and it's great to see because there's a big legacy there that you guys are leaving in here, right? And so the legacy of being part of this community, because you've been a big part of the community, right?
Yeah. No, that's always kind of been our focus. We're all from here. It's a family-run store. My grandfather kind of instilled that in my father and his brothers, and then my father and me. You got to really be part of the community. You got to try and give back to the community that gives to you. Whether it be through donations or community events or even just getting involved in different events or whatever, right? Coaching or whatever, and that's kind of what we try to do here as much as we can. Give back, and that's kind of been a main focus and a main strategy of ours to kind of make sure that we really implement ourselves in the community and, that people know who we are and respect what we do. And we try and give back as much as we can. So, yeah.
So before we started, we were joking around about me having 1958 on the top. So the 1958 is basically the Gowan Bray, that's when they started 65 years ago. And, somebody I met in Fredericton a few weeks ago said that it was the last year the Land Rovers were built. And when I was telling you that story, that triggered a thought. So let's bring this back, because at one point in time, back here, your grandfather was bringing in Land Rovers. Yeah. So interesting story how that ties in. And I think it's worthwhile taking that segue for a second.
Yeah. So basically, back in the day, franchise agreements maybe weren't as stringent as they are now, and what you could and couldn't sell and stuff. So we were actually able to kind of import Land Rovers back in the day, and the main use of them, we'd get them from Halifax off the boat, and we'd send some drivers down by train to go pick them up. Take them about 2 or 3 days to bring it back, just not going as fast and overheating no highways, exactly. So quite the trek to bring them back, and then the main use of them was mainly for prospecting for the mine. So that's kind of what first use was for them, and that's kind of what got us into the leasing business, because a lot of these prospectors were looking to lease these vehicles to buy them, whether cash flow was tight or whatever, and that kind of got my great-grandfather and then my grandfather after that into the leasing business even before Ford Motor Company got into the leasing business, and that company that they established is still running today, part of Hatheway Limited. We call it Right Way Auto Leasing, and there's still companies today here that take advantage of that program that we offer, and they're able to lease vehicles directly through us, and it kind of gives us a good business relationship with a lot of local businesses and even personal. So it's been a good thing for us. It was a great thing for my grandfather and great grandfather when they first started it, and it's kind of maybe set us apart a little bit from some other stores that don't have access to that. A lot of stores do now, but we were definitely among the first to get into the leasing business, and no, it's been great, and it continues to be to this day. Yeah.
Well, we talk about how things have evolved, right? So Land Rovers to prospectors and then leasing programs with Brunswick Mines and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things have changed, but over the years, those things have been incremental. But we had some event that happened in 2020 that really threw things for a whirl. But that has also changed the car business, right?
Yeah. No, the impacts of the pandemic were definitely felt on the auto industry, like most industries. The main ones being the difficulty in supply issues, but also we weren't sure at the beginning if we were going to be able to stay open. Whether we were going to have to close or lay people off or not. Luckily, the government came out and labeled our service stations as actually being essential, which I really think they are. Making sure that people's cars are functioning well, making sure people can use their vehicles and service their vehicles is definitely essential. And we were able to keep our doors open that way. And then as we went on and kind of faced that reality, we had to make some internal changes, and then some major changes to the process of how we do business. Being able to get vehicles, ordering vehicles. That was we always did a bit of it. Factory ordering vehicles, but it became kind of the standard, and a lot of people had never done that. People were used to coming, trying, buying, and we had to really reassure people and put people at ease that we're going to work with you, and if you do order this vehicle and you don't like it, we're not going to force you into buying it or anything like that. So it was really the big thing I think was trust when it came to that, making sure people trusted you, that you're ordering the right vehicle for them, that vehicle was gonna be what they needed and stuff like that. And then so we had to make changes. We're slowly seeing inventory levels creep up again here, and we're happy for that. People can and I think people are always going to want to test drive vehicles. Yeah. So I don't think you can go to a fully online buying process for a vehicle. I think it's too major of a purchase. So I'm glad to see that that's coming back, but we learned all these valuable lessons during COVID that we're now implementing into our process. So, instead of having to have every sort of vehicle on the yard, well, you need so many that people can try. Yeah. And then from there, you can order the odd vehicle that maybe you don't have in stock. And we have those skills now to be able to do it and explain the process to the customer, and then the customer is able to feel good about that buying process. Yeah.
And that also ties in, you mentioned the word trust in there, but that sign that says 75 years, that builds a lot of trust, because if you weren't able to build trust with anybody, you wouldn't have been here for 75 years. So your family has been able to do that all the way through. And now, we're leading into EV cars, like the electric vehicles. And you were telling me that you're getting prepared and changing things as you're going through.
Yeah. Well, the store is getting ready to do some major investments in the store and in the infrastructure of the store to be able to service and sell these vehicles and making sure that we're able to offer the vehicle that someone wants, whether it be an internal combustion engine vehicle or an electric vehicle. We have the technicians to service them, we have the infrastructure to charge and all that, and we have the knowledge and the sales staff to be able to explain the product and making sure people know what they're getting into. So yeah, I think it's going to be a gradual shift towards EV, and I think Ford Motor Company kind of has the same thing in mind. They're investing big time in EV, but at the same time, they're really pushing their internal combustion engine vehicles as well, and that's kind of, I think, what the store is planning on doing. We're moving towards EV while maintaining our internal combustion engine vehicles and really believing in our internal combustion engine vehicles while preparing for that shift. Because I think the shift's going to be gradual. There's going to be electric vehicles, plug-in hybrid vehicles, which are really becoming popular nowadays. We have our plug-in Escape, that is very popular, and then hybrid vehicles as well. So that's going to all be part of our mix going forward. And yeah, I think we're ready, and we're putting the steps in place to be able to do that.
Well, it's interesting to hear all the pivoting points that you've done over the years since your grandfather started, and what's happened, and what all your family has done all the way through. So I wish you another 75 years, but that's up to you, because you're going to have to be able to populate the family to keep that going. So
we're going to work on getting to 100, and
then we'll see what happens after that. Well, congratulations on your anniversary. Congratulations to the whole family, and it's great to see that legacy can be left here, and the family growing, and seeing this stuff happen for the region, and being part of history, and what Bathurst's all about. So congratulations all the way through that.
No, thanks for coming, and thanks for talking with us.
There we go. Yeah. So there we have it. Another edition of Northern Heat for this week, the place you come to listen to the stories that you haven't discovered yet.